All right, let's see if this one can be a little more promising here. Let's see if we can catch this one and make sure that we can stay abreast here. So go ahead and share this one if you will. Let them know we're trying it again, children. We're trying it again. We're trying it again here. All right. Tell me if this is a little clearer, a little better. Hopefully the signal's a little stronger here. All right. All right. Go ahead and share it now. Go ahead and share it now. God bless you. God bless you. Go ahead and share it now. Go ahead and share the broadcast, would you? All right. Let's try it again. All right. So once again, you can get this lesson by going to bishopwaddell.com, and right there. Thank you all for coming back. Thank you, Sister Patterson. Thank you, Bishop. Thank you, Karen, for coming back in. You can go to bishopwaddell.com, and when you get there, click on Ministry Helps. Bring the window down. After you bring the window down, you can click on Bible Study Live, and that'll bring you right into the page with the praying hands. If you click on that, you'll have this right here at your disposal. Okay, so we were talking about, we're on page 1 in the middle. What is the difference between faith and hope? We said faith is the totality of what we believe. Faith takes into consideration everything we've learned about God through our experiences, everything that God has revealed to us through divine revelation, and that builds the platform. And it's on that platform that we construct hope. Now, listen, faith is the substance of things hoped for, and so hope is the ingredient, the main ingredient that gives faith its strength, because faith has to have something to hold on to. You got to have faith in something, in someone, and hope is that extension. Hope is the glue or the mortar that allows faith to hold to that which it is anticipating. So right now, hope is part of God's SUR-THRIVAL plan for the Christian right now. Hope and help for our current realities. Hope is in that SUR-THRIVAL kit. Are you with me? Let's talk a little bit here. Hope is not natural. Hope is not a natural thing. Let me read something to you here. I want to read, let me see. I want to read 2 Timothy 1 and 7. 2 Timothy 1 and 7. God bless you. Listen, and it reads, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Listen. Young babies at a very early age have what they call the Moro, M-O-R-O, moral reflex. We often refer to that as the startle reflex. And you can kind of scare a baby, she'll just do that. And you know, it's unconscious. You don't have to teach a baby to be frightened. You ever thought about that? You don't have to teach people how to be afraid. And that's fear, you see, is a natural occurrence. But hope isn't. Hope does not occur naturally. Hope has to be generated. Are you with me? Now, it is not necessary to teach people to be afraid. Fear is a natural occurrence, but hope has to be generated. Now, 2 Timothy 1 and 7 tells us that God has not given us the spirit of fear. Now, what the question here says, what does this verse tell us about fear? So, first of all, 2 Timothy 1:7, the first thing we know is that whatever it is something that God did not give us. It's something that God does. Fear is something that God does not distribute. Okay. That's the first thing we learn. That wherever it came from, it cannot find its origin in the Lord. Number two, the second thing it tells us that fear is a spirit. Now you have to let that sit for a minute, because in the COVID-19 season, there's a spirit of fear. Can't you feel it? It goes from being rational, wash your hands, cover your mouth and nose, stay away from crowds, that's rational, to grows to almost an irrational, where paranoia sits in, and you're scared now to put your head down on your own pillow. I might give it to myself. So what I'm saying to you is this: is that it's a spirit, and if it didn't come from God, God has not given us a spirit of fear, and if it indeed is a spirit, then where did it come from? You don't have to be a rocket science to figure that one out. It's a demonic thing. That spirit of fear will make you hurt yourself because a bug is in your car, a bug this big. That spirit is so controlling, it'll make you steer your car into a tree because a bug is in your car. That spirit of fear right today will keep you awake at night. It's a spirit, and God did not give it to us. All right. In the place of this fear, according to 2 Timothy 1:7, what exactly did God give us? The answer is, first of all, he gave us power. There are 365 different verses in the Bible that says, fear not. Hey, Clarence Powell, God bless you. Tony, thank you for watching. Good to see you. I'm Tony Baloney. Look out now. There are about 365 verses in the Bible that says, fear not. And so that tells us what? That tells us that God has given us a fear not for every day of the year. You need some fear nots. Because in place of fear, he's giving you power. Power to accomplish his will in your life. Power. And then, not only that, he's giving you power, he's giving you love, so you can deal with your enemies. Wait a minute now. And a sound mind. Isn't that right? That's 2 Timothy 1:7, a sound mind. In other words, a rational mind. A mind that can not only understand spiritual things, but can comprehend carnal things and how they are to fitly join together. Faith and works. Are you with me? And so in this season, part of your SUR-THRIVAL plan has to be to embrace some power. Because you're going to need something other than, a bottle of sanitizer to deal with this matter. Are you with me? That's a good start, but it's going to take more than washing your hands. Because much of what we're fighting is a spiritual war. It's a spirit of fear. Are you with me? And so then you're going to have some love. Because first of all, a lot of y'all are dealing with folks in your own home that you haven't seen, looked at them this long, for this many hours in a long time. And even when you think about some of the situations, sometimes when you have time to sit and think, the enemy will remind you of the wrong you've been done and the unfair treatment you've experienced. And so you got to have some love. And most of all here in this season, a sound mind. Are you with me? Okay, I'm going to that second page here of the lesson. If you don't have the lesson, you can go to Bishop Waddell, bishopwaddell.com. Bring the page up. At the top, you'll see a tab that says Ministry Helps. Click on Ministry Helps, drop it down to Bible Study Live, right? When you click on Bible Study Live, You'll see some praying hands in the corner. Hit those praying hands, and the lesson becomes yours for free. Now, I just typed it up. It's brand new, all right? So you can grab a hold of it. Brother Grace, God bless you for watching. Good to see you. Sister Sheffield, God bless you. I'm on the second page. I want to talk about hope takers. Are there things that now can take your hope? If God is trying to provide you with hope in these last days, then we need to know there are things that have the capacity to take our hope. Let's see, I'm looking at all my notes here that was tried to take your hope away from you. All right, let's look at Acts for a moment. Acts chapter 27, verse 18. Acts chapter 27, verse 18. And Paul writes, and we being exceedingly tossed with a tempest, the next day they lightened the ship. And the third day we cast out our own hands the tackling of the ship. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope, hear me now, all hope that we should be saved was taken away. Now this verse, these verses, part of Luke's narrative, records the Apostle Paul's shipwreck while sailing to Rome to stand trial before Caesar. The scripture tells us that Paul, along with the sailors and other passengers, had been battered by a great storm at sea for many days. And despite all of their valiant efforts, the fury of the storm and the spirit of fear it produced managed to take away all hope that they would be saved. Now, I want you to think for a moment, what circumstances in your life will try to take away your hope? How many hits do you have to take before you kind of ball over? Some people say that they have a high threshold for pain, and some folk, they say that they can stand more pain. The doctor gave me this medicine, but I ain't gonna take it. I won't say here, I'm gonna take my medicine, okay? Cause I pay too much insurance to sit up and hurt. But if you want to sit up and hurt and feel big and strong, you go ahead and hurt. In fact, let me know. I'll come get your medicine because I like to keep mine for when I hurt later. But anyway, but the bottom line is that no matter what your pain threshold is, there is a threshold. You do understand that, right? There's a threshold where you can only go so far. And I wonder, what's your threshold? At what point did Paul and or certainly these other sailors get their hope taken from them? The circumstance was so great, it just came and listen now, it didn't say they lost hope. Wait a minute. It didn't say they lost hope. It said the circumstances, that spirit of fear, literally took it from them. You see, if you don't have no power, like what we talk about in 1 Timothy or 2 Timothy 1 and 7, if you don't have that love and that sound mind, your circumstances will take your hope. You read it. I didn't make it up. It says that all hope was not lost, but was taken. That's how bold the devil is. He'll take it. Because, if I snatch your hope, then your faith don't have anything to support. Because if you have faith, if you're trusting God for what? If I can take away that thing you're expecting, if you're expecting healing, then I'll take your hope from healing away. Now, what's your faith going to lean on? You see what I'm saying to you? So you got to make sure that you deal with the spirit of fear because it's going to deal with you. Listen. And so the realities of life can take your hope. Let's talk about some stuff that can take hope. Now, in Acts 27 and 20, it says, when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was taken away. All hope that we should be saved. This storm was real. See, sometimes the realities of life can try to take your hope. Listen, wait a minute. This storm in the book of Acts chapter 27, it wasn't in Paul's imagination. It was real. And no amount of positive thinking would change the fact that the ship was in a real storm and in real danger. You see, when it comes to people being in trouble or being in crisis, people tend to respond in about 1 or 3 ways. My good friend, Pastor McClendon, reminded me of this. They tend to respond in 1 or 3 ways. Either one, they'll pretend. Pretend like ain't nothing wrong. Don't claim it. Don't you say that thing. The power of life and death is in your tongue. Listen, whether I say COVID-19 or not, COVID-19 is real. I know people don't want to believe that. I don't know where it came from. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what the treatment is. I don't know what the cure is. But one thing I do know, this is an all things work together moment for them that are the called, according to the word of law. This is our all things moment. I don't have to know where it came from. I don't have to know where it's going. I don't have to know how it's transmitted. For we know, one thing we do know, is that all things are working together. This is one of those all things moments. Can't you feel it? If you can't find faith now, maybe you never had it. I'm gonna hurt somebody's feeling. Oh, wait a minute. Let me move on. Listen. Either you're going to pretend or you're going to panic. That's the opposite extreme of denial is to say, it's beyond washing your hands. It's beyond wearing a mask. Now you got walking backwards inside a Walmart. If I walk in backwards, the virus get confused and think I'm leaving. Wait, what's wrong with you? So what I'm saying to you is that it'll take you to some extreme because fear, that spirit of fear, is close to the spirit of insanity. Wait a minute. So either you're going to pretend, or people are going to panic, or people are going to pray. Let me ask you something. Pretend, panic, or pray. I'm asking you all a question. Is it possible that a person can experience all 3 of those? Let me hear. Give me some response. Is it possible a person can experience all 3? What do you think? Can a person experience panic and pretending and prayer all at the same time? Give me some feedback on that. Put that out there to y'all. Spawn said, yes, they can. Carol said, pretend, panic, or pray. Yes, they can. And so you shouldn't feel that you're less than a Christian because you have been in denial for a moment. Oh, I don't know about this. I don't know. Why you don't see it in Africa? I don't. Or you kind of panicked. There have been some times you thought, 100,000. I wonder if I'm in that number. Ooh. Or you're saying, Father, I'm going to trust you. It's Sister Glasper says, yes, but you need to practice wisdom. Right. Listen, hear me now. Wisdom and faith don't depart from one another. I'm saying, listen, it's okay for you to hear the news, watch the news, get information, follow procedures, social distancing. But now some of y'all have overdosed on the news. See what I'm saying to you? And the news has turned into your new Bible. And you believe everything they're saying, though what they say change every day from what God has said, who says, I'm the Lord God and I change it not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. See what I'm saying to you? So I want to hear all these things. I want to hear all this, but I got to hear from the Lord. I got to hear from God. Because in the end, that's the only one I can have hope in. All right? So, what am I getting at? Let me see, where am I at? In Acts 27 and 20, the reality of the great storm had taken its toll on the people's hope. Question here, in what ways, in what ways has COVID-19 taken a toll on the hope of some people? Evangelist Conner says, during this time of COVID, the first human things are panic. Then we pretend if it doesn't exist. But Christians certainly pray. That's right. That's right. Now, how has this COVID impacted the hope of people? Remember now, I asked you, how many blows to the stomach can you take before you double over? That's why some of you all who are binging on the news and binging on all this social media, those are punches in the gut of your hope. Booper, booper, booper. And you're taking more time with CNN than you're taking with your knees on a bend. Can I say that? I like to rhyme, don't I? You're taking more time with CNN than with your knees on a bend. And so you're hearing more from what the world has to say. Now, wait a minute now. Don't get me wrong. Our church doors are closed. People say, well, wait, Reverend, where's your faith? If you have the kind of faith, you ought to have your church doors open if you have faith. Let me say something to you, brother, sister. It takes more faith for me to close my doors and keep them open. Do you believe that? And so what am I saying to you? I'm saying to you, take all the precaution. But while you're feeding the natural man with natural information, and that's good because it's real. Make sure you don't starve the spiritual man. You need a strong spiritual man. I know you go in some of these drugstores, you can't find nothing for immune boosting. You know, all the immune boosting things, because people are trying to build their immune system. They think my natural body needs to be healthy because in case I get it, I want my natural body, to be healthy. Absolutely. What about your spiritual body? What are you doing in this season to make sure that spirit of fear doesn't ease up on you and put your spiritual man in a chokehold? That wrestling move, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. Hold on, children. That's too much wrestling with the chase. Let me move on. So I want you to think about that. Think about what are you doing? Push aside the news for a moment and open that book full of good news. This kind come by prayer and fasting. Don't spend your time at home trying to see how much weight you can put back on. These are fasting times. Because the Lord wants us to glean something from this. Are you with me? Let me move on. If you just got here, you can get this Bible study lesson right now by going to bishopwaddell.com. Go to bishopwaddell, WADDELL.com. And when you get there, there's a tab that says Ministry Helps. Click on Ministry Helps. Go down to a Bible Study Live. Click on that Bible Study Live link there. It'll take you to a page, and you'll see the praying hands to your right. Click on those praying hands, and you'll be in that Bible study just like this. Put on your smartphone, your tablet, or your smart TV. All right. Let's go on to the second part of the last half here. So what can take away your hope? Great loss can try to take away your hope. Listen, let me read here Acts 27 and 18. Acts 27 and 18. And when being exceedingly tossed with tempest the next day, they lightened the ship. And the third day we cast out with our own hands the tackling of the ship. You see, what was going on was that this ship that Paul was on had a lot of cargo, a lot of merchandise, a lot of valuable things, a lot of things that were important to those passengers and sailors. And because of the weight of the load, that ship was sitting really low into the water. And that made it especially vulnerable to the storm surge and the waves and the breakers. And so because it was sitting so low in the water, it was easily flooded by the storm. Are you with me? And so what the sailors decided to do is go down there in the ship and take out some of that cargo, take out some of that important, valuable stuff that they were trying to hold on to. And in order to improve their circumstance for survival, throw it off. Throw it off. So Paul said that the very stuff they was trying to hold on to, they had to get rid of. And sometimes when you lose things, and some folks, when they threw off those trunks full of valuables, they also felt they were throwing away their hope. Because the things in that ship, they had expectations to utilize them, those things, once they reached their destination. But now, there are times when in life that we make decisions, and some of us have made sacrifices trying to improve circumstances. Sometimes we sacrifice things trying to improve somebody else's circumstances. You know, you stayed at home with your kids, and you sacrificed, you know, going to work and kind of improving yourself, maybe in certain ways, to be home with them, or maybe you stayed home while your spouse went to school, and you sacrificed some of your goals at the moment. Sometimes, you know, you have those savings, you have a little money, you know, but you sacrifice that to pay somebody else's bond and get them out of jail, or to pay somebody, you know, else's bills, a family, a friend. But that's one thing, but then what happened that made this thing kind of sting, the Bible says that even after they had tossed this stuff off and made these colossal sacrifices, did nothing improve. Now, I don't mind making some sacrifices, even if it kind of hurts to make the sacrifices, if in the end things get better. I'm trying to say, one of the things reason I can stand a root canal, I hate getting a root canal. But the only thing that encourages me is that I know it's going to end. And hopefully the end will leave me with a better condition than I began with. Are you with me? But now what do you do when you make the sacrifice and you do everything that needs to be done, and you're sitting there feeling bad because all your stuff is floating away, all your dreams, all your hopes, all your energy is floating away, ain't nothing changed. And see, that can cost you some hope. Let me read some stuff to you. Despite their sacrificial efforts, they were still in grave danger of losing their lives. In hopes of saving their lives, these men were willing to sacrifice what at one time was very precious to them. Real trials and real hardships will make you readjust your priorities. In the second scripture, Paul informs the crew and the passengers of the words from his angelic visitation, that God will preserve their lives, but they will lose the ship. Let me read that part to you. I may have left that part out. And verse 25, chapter 27 of Acts, verse 25. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe God, that he shall be even as it was told me. And so he says, listen, he says in verse 20, I believe it is, he says, and when, well, let me back up. Verse 25, wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe God, that it shall be even as it was told to me. And falling into a place where two seas met, they ran the ship aground. So Paul tells them, listen, he says, listen, God's going to save us, but you're going to lose the ship. Look at verse 22. Chapter 27 of Acts, verse 22. And he says, and now I exhort you to be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. Now he says, now listen, God said he's going to take care of you, but some of these things you got with you might not make it. God says, I'm going to take care of you, but now I'm going to hurt somebody's feeling. God said, I'm going to take care of you, but now your 401k may not make it. God said, I can keep you. All right. But the fact that you were on a job a while ago, that business that you were working for, it might not make it. Listen, does faith and hope have a price? Often the price of faith and hope involves us losing those things that provided, wait a minute now, hear me now, a false sense of security or safety. You better get this lesson I wrote. Wait a minute. Read it to you again. The question is, does faith and hope have a price? Often the price of faith and hope involves us losing those things that provided a false sense of security. God wanted Paul and the other passengers to understand that it hadn't been the ship that was keeping them from harm. God said, now he said, some of these things, it's holding you down. He said, now you think the ship is what kept you from drowning? Mm-mm. In fact, God said, let me prove it to you. There's not the ship that's been keeping you. So God said, let me explode this ship for a minute. Sometimes faith and hope will cost you those things that have given us all false security. Now listen, I want y'all to hear me good. Hear me really good. And Sister Glasper, Diane, you made a good point, so make sure you hear me really good. I got sanitizer all over the house in my car. Listen, my hands just as dry as a fool right now because of it. But do you think that I believe it's the sanitizer that's going to keep me? Now I'm using it like I use bread when I get hungry. But we know that men do not live by bread, alone. Bread is in there. Now don't think that you're going to live your life and you ain't going to eat nothing. Wait a minute now. Bread is part of it, but not alone. You see what I'm saying to you? And so what I'm getting at is that God may quite well save us, save our bodies, save our souls, even save our minds. But there are some things that God wants to show you that were false securities. Like your church building that you can't go in. Some of y'all, and I'm all for it, you got your favorite seats. Your granny went to that church, your great granny bought the windows in the church, and bought some hell in the church too, but we don't talk about that, whatever. So anyway, but we've been evicted from the house and put back in the world where the church belonged. We got these gates and chains and bars around our churches and fences and locks. Who are you trying to keep in? And think about who are you trying to keep out? Some of us are afraid. Everybody has come out the closet but the Christian. We done ran back up in the closet. Let me close with this. God wanted Paul and the other pastors to understand that it hadn't been the ship that was keeping them from harm. God would prove to them that he is the master of ocean, earth, and sky, and that he could sustain them in the sea even without a ship. Questions. What things in your life may have given us a false sense of security and safety? What things in your life had given you the impression that, yeah, that's what's buying my groceries? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what's keeping a roof over my head. Yeah, that's why I plan to. That's how I'm going to retire. Yeah, I'm going to. And so, could God be using this season to uproot some false realities of security and safety, things that we have put our confidence in? One songwriter says, "My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on what? Jesus' name." Listen, people say, I lean on my job, and I lean on family members that you cannot even go see. Let me move on here. Last point, I'm at the very bottom of the lesson. It reads, you can make it on what you have left. Acts 27, verse 42 and 40 through 44. And it says in Acts chapter 27, verse 41, and falling into a place where two seas met, they ran the ship aground, and the forepart stuck fast and remained unmovable, but the hinder part was broken with the violence of the waves. And the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them should swim out and escape. So the ship ran aground, hit some rocks, and broke apart. So the ship is gone. It's sinking, taking on water. And some of the soldiers who were guarding the prisoners on the boat, on the ship, they knew if a prisoner escaped, their boss would take their lives for letting them get away. And so what they decided to do was, you know what, let's go ahead and kill these prisoners. That way, we don't have to worry about them running away and us getting in more trouble. So that immediately, to me, exposed the devil's plan. He wanted to kill Paul all along. Remember, Paul had been jailed in Philippi. He had been stoned and left for dead in Lystra. Are you with me? And so now the devil says, I got you. I got the spirit of fear all around you. I got you. I've taken away your false sense of security. The ship is gone. Now you are expecting to die. You're expecting to drown in this. Paul says, I know as a man thinketh, so is he. You see, and Satan used this. You see what I'm saying to you? And now we see the whole objective was to kill Paul. See, if Paul would have died in that sea, the majority of the New Testament never got written. The most of the letters that Paul had written, and some of the most powerful letters, came while he was locked in jail in prison. You see, in Rome. And so doesn't that kind of tell you that Satan's mission has not changed? He still wants to steal your hope, kill you and your joy. Listen, and so that's the underlying mission, is to kill your hope, to make you begin to expect, listen, death and annihilation, to let you meditate more on that than on the goodness of God. He wants to invade your prayer life and unplug your spirituality in this moment. And now it suddenly becomes obvious in this text what the devil was trying to do. It was never about the storm. It was never about you giving your stuff and making those sacrifices. It was to get you to a place where you are so broken, so hopeless, that Satan could come in on you like a flood and you couldn't withstand. You couldn't stand it. That was his mission all along. All along. Let's see what happened to this, okay? Let's keep on reading. So they said, let's kill Paul. Let's kill all of these prisoners. Verse 43 says, but the centurion, the head man, willing, wait a minute now, to save Paul, kept them from their purpose. Willing to save Paul. Kept them, didn't talk about the other prisoners. Willing to save Paul. You see, if you keep your hope, if you survive, others around you will survive. If you go down, mother, if you go down, brother pastor, if you go down, sister missionary evangelist, if you go down in the flood of despair and hopelessness of this moment, others are going to follow you to that drowning place. But the centurion saved Paul. And when he saved Paul, the other folk were saved from their planned disaster. Let me go on. So what did he command them to do? Look at verse 43, Acts 27:43. Look what he said to them. All you all who can swim, cast yourself first into the water. He says that some of you all that have some natural abilities. You have some skills in this area. And so if you got skills to deal with this moment, if somehow you learn to swim and you have prepared yourself for this very situation, y'all go on in the water then. and swim towards the land. And they did. Now, imagine those who remained and the water kept rising around their knees. And they thought to themselves, like some of y'all, wait a minute, I can't swim. I learned swim when I was 30 years old. I was never scared of water. I just knew I couldn't go that deep in it. And so I had respect for it. So now the water is around your waist. And the folks who first got in the water, they're almost to the land. And you think if I can't swim, so if I get in the water, I'm going to be in trouble. But guess what? You're already in the water. Now you're thinking, what I'm going to do? The man said, oh, y'all can swim, get in, go for it. Now the water's at your chest. And you're thinking, what? I don't know what I'm going to do because I don't have what it takes. I don't have the skill set. I'm not prepared. And then the centurion realized this, and he says, you know what he says next? He says, verse 44, 3 words I want you to hear. And the rest. I mean the rest. And the rest. The rest of us who are kind of scared. Maybe you don't have the faith and that kind of just staunch kind of, this is getting next to you. Maybe you're not in the best of health to start with. Like, Lord, I'm already got some health issues. The last thing I need, right? You know what I'm saying? So you kind of, maybe you up in age, you got to look out, you've blessed a lot of bread in your days. Now, a whole lot of Thanksgiving has come from you. And so you a little concerned, you ain't, you kind of grinning, but, in the back of your mind, like, is it I, right? So he said, now the rest, and some of us, we're the rest. We ain't 20, we're the rest. Some of us are taking medicine every day to live. You're the rest. The rest, it says, you can make it too. Some on boards, some on broken pieces. Let me read this to you. But what about those who didn't have the same ability, skill, or talent, those harder swimmers? What was their instructions? These were instructed to use the boards, planks, and broken pieces from the ship. God has just what you need to make it. He says they didn't need the entire ship to be saved, just a piece of it. They made it not because they knew how to swim, not because they were the most athletic, not because they were the most prepared. They made it because God let them use boards, planks, and broken pieces. You can make it right now. If you have to make it on boards, planks, and broken pieces, you can make it. That's all I'm trying to say to you. Don't check out now. Don't check out now. Here's what I'm saying to you. Get your sanitizer. Wash your hands. Blow your nose. Put your mask on. Listen, put a hoodie on if you need to. I don't care. Put some stocking cap on. Whatever you think you need to do. Distance yourself. Social distancing. Take it. It's real. Take it for what it is. But then don't put your head 24/7 in the news and what man is saying, and don't have no time to put your head into the Bible and into prayer and into fasting for what God is saying, because the natural man is going to be overtaken by the spirit of fear. 2 Timothy 1:7, God has not given us that spirit. It's a spirit, but God didn't give it to you. Put your faith in the Word of God, and you'll grow spiritually. See, so then you'll have what? Power. You'll find new love, and you'll find yourself with a sound mind. Listen, any questions or any comments anybody have concerning today's lesson? Any questions or comments? Let me see here. Any questions, any comments? Any questions or comments? I'm trying to see if I can bring some of y'all up here. I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can invite anybody. Y'all turn your invite buttons on. Sister Jackson said it's flesh that causes us to fear. Brother Donnell, we have to use what God gave us to make it. Yes, that's right. Use what God gave us to make it. Okay, I'm about to figure out how to turn this thing on and get y'all. Anyway, anybody, anything else they need to share? Any questions you have about today's lesson? God bless you. God bless you. We thank you. Some of y'all have been so kind over this season to support us during this time. If you want to make a donation so we can add some more technology to our lesson, I would appreciate it. You can help me with that by using Cash App and just doing Bishop Waddell on Cash App. And we're trying to buy some more software and some hardware too, so we can have a more interactive Bible study. And so if you want to contribute to that plan and function, you can do just that on the Cash App. Bishop Waddell will make it work. That $ Bishop Waddell. God bless you all. Any other comments or questions? All right. God bless you again. If you want this lesson that we taught tonight, you can find it at bishopwaddell.com, and just quick ministry helps and go down to Bible Study Live, and you can get your Bible study right there by clicking on the praying hands. I pray that this Bible study and this series that we're working on, entitled The Christian SUR-THRIVAL Plan, not survival, SUR-THRIVAL, the Christian SUR-THRIVAL Plan, Hope and Help for Our Current Realities, is a series of sermons that we'll be preaching on Sunday morning and teaching on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Now, on Wednesdays at 7 a.m., our good friend Vice Chief Bishop Aaron Scruggs will join you at 7 a.m. on Bible Study Live with a meditation and a word. And Wednesday nights at 6:30, you can call in to the conference prayer call. We'll be on that call, and we will give about 5 minutes or so of meditation once the prayer meeting ends. But we'll keep Bible study on Sundays at 7 p.m. Again, if you would like to contribute to allow us to expand this ministry and get some other equipment, you can do so by making your donation. Cash App Bishop Waddell, easy to remember. $ Cash App Bishop Waddell. Got to put this money to some good use to get a few more pieces of equipment and software here so we can be a little more interactive with one another doing this Bible study. God bless you. God keep you. I pray that you will now experience God in his fullness. I'll be talking